Way, federal officials and voting advocates are warning of things like voter intimidation, disinformation, along with threats of political violence. Tonight, Fox 4 Investigates is digging into the Department of Homeland Security's warnings that extremists could use their anger and fear over election fraud to justify violence.
On the same day, prosecutors say a hammer-wielding suspect assaulted House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband in San Francisco. The Department of Homeland Security released a bulletin warning about the increased risk of politically motivated violence.
This idea that we have shifted to violence is sort of the answer for things that we disagree with is certainly something that is fairly new in elections.
Officials warn there are no specific or credible threats at this time. But the bulletin goes on to say that extremists could target election-related locations in hopes of swaying voting habits, undermining perceptions of the legitimacy of the voting process, or prompting a government reaction.
But there's something else at stake: democracy itself.
President Biden gave a primetime address this week warning of political violence and voter intimidation. I asked Lee County's supervisor of elections,
Are you seeing anything like that?
I haven't seen any. We've had some drive-by yelling and screaming at some of the early voting sites, but they drive by and go on. Haven't really have any incidents so far.
So you're not too concerned about that?
Not yet.
Tommy Doyle tells me he's in constant contact with the Lee County Sheriff's Office and that law enforcement is keeping an eye on the polls. While he hasn't seen extreme cases of violence or intimidation, what he is seeing...
People are believing a lot of this misinformation about tabulation and about the being on the internet. It's all misinformation.
The 2020 election disinformation never really left and is continuing to drive conspiracy theories that undermine voters' faith in the election.
Jesse Littlewood is in charge of combating online election disinformation for the voter advocacy group Common Cause.
It attempts to promote distrust in the election system. That heightened sense of distrust is both corrosive to the idea of participating in our democracy and has lingering effects downstream.
Doyle let Fox 4 Investigates into the room as volunteers were counting mail-in ballots. He has a message for voters.
People should be confident that we are running a secure and transparent election.
The Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the Justice Department are all devoting more resources to track threats ahead of Election Day. They have a hotline set up. It's right there on your screen. It's 800-253-3931. Anyone can call with a complaint about their voting process. We'll also put a link on there on fox4now.com. Just click on Investigates.
Well,